from 3 to 5 p.m., all brought to you by the Ozona Pig Restaurant in Ozona. Yes, that's every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. It's Miss Sarah's Dynamic Gospel Power Show. Tune in on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Calling all radio enthusiasts with storm claims and legal questions. Join us every Saturday at 2 p.m. on WTAN FM 106.1 and AM 1340 for Legal Candy with attorney Candace Colucci. She's your guide to hurricane-related issues, property insurance law, and more sizzling legal topics. Get ready for a lively legal experience. Make your Saturday sweet with Legal Candy on WTAN FM 106.1 and AM 1340.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
It's now time for Connecting Caregivers with author, speaker, caregiver advocate, and talk show host Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for caregivers.
All the caregivers around the world today, it's time to lift you up. It's time to celebrate. Good afternoon and welcome to Connecting Caregivers with me, Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers with love, laughter, and lessons learned on the show where you can find help and hope. So I'm so happy that you're all here today because I know your caregiving journey is not too easy. We have Mr. Ed on the boards today. How you doing, Ed?
Greetings.
Greetings is all he has to say today. And with me is my best friend, my co-host, and my sidekick, psychic, Lynn Thornley.
Good afternoon. Good to be here. My earphones aren't working.
They're not?
No. That's all right. I don't have to listen to you.
Did you use the adapter from the other headphones?
Yeah.
Yeah. The other headphones are screw in.
Yeah.
Yours are push in, so it probably falls out.
Yeah, we keep pushing it though.
Don't go any further.
No.
All right.
We will see.
We will see. And I have my friend Deanna Arnold with me today. We're going to talk to her in the second half of the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Glad you're here today.
Thanks.
So the first thing I want to do is give a shout out to our newest listeners. We have Jeannie in Clearwater, we have Gail in Largo, and we have Rose in St. Pete.
Welcome, ladies.
And like I always say, there's plenty of room around the Connecting Caregivers tables for more listeners, whether you listen on AM, FM, YouTube, Facebook, my website, wherever we can get you. Like I say, we're just here to help you find resources, to know that you're not alone, to give you a shoulder, because the caregiving journey is tough. But when you do it not by yourself and you let people help you and you share your feelings, it's better for you and it's better for your loved one. So I'm really excited to say that the website has launched for the Connecting Caregivers Conference, and it is May 6th, 7th, and 8th. You can go and register at connectingcaregiversconference.com. So we have 18 fabulous speakers over 3 days, totally virtual, totally free for caregivers. Please register, because what people say to me is, Linda, you think I can watch a conference for 3 days? I can barely watch a conference for 3 days, and I'm running it. But as long as you register, within 30 days, you'll receive all the videos of the conference to watch at your leisure when your time is good. I find when I do my analytics that a lot of my caregivers are watching the videos at like 2 o'clock in the morning, because that's, when they have that time or they can't sleep and they get up and say, oh, let me see if I can figure something out. And my recent analytics on YouTube shows that my newest listeners are men from the age of 40 to 60, which was really interesting to me. And I think because more males are becoming caregivers today. But I think where do men get their information from? YouTube.
Their wives.
YouTube. Yeah, I know. It's YouTube. So anywhere we can get this information out, caregivers deal with a lot of different things. A lot of my caregivers are dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia. And we know that's something that's not going to get better. But when we have resources and we know that we're not alone, the other day I did a support group, a live support group. And one of the ladies said out loud, she said, my husband threw the vacuum cleaner at me the other day. And one of the other ladies said, mine did too. I feel better. Because I have this lovely husband that would never ever do anything like that.
Right.
And I'm ashamed to even say anything like that. But then when she hears somebody else in the group, she's like, okay, I'm all right. It's not just me.
Right.
Because everybody thinks it's just me and they want to hide that. The other thing I want to encourage you to do is talk to your children, because children need to know what's going on. All of a sudden, people are whispering, grandma has this or grandma has that, and nobody knows what's going on. Your children are probably the most acceptable people of all. I had a caregiver who, her husband did a lot with their grandchildren. They used to go hunting and do all sorts of things. And he had Alzheimer's, and his children decided they didn't want to tell the grandchildren. So one day they were all hanging out, and the grandma finds the grandson behind the garage crying. And he's like, Grampy's always yelling at me lately. Nothing I can do is right. What? What? And so the grandmother said, your Grampy has a disease, and your parents are going to tell you all about it tonight. And she called her kids, and she's like, I'm done. You need to tell your children what's going on. Well, the next week, they all got together, and the grandson ran and just hugged his Grampy. Because he knows that there's something wrong. Grampy's not being mean to me or whatever. He knows there's something wrong. And do we want Grampy to miss out on that relationship with their grandchildren because no one's explained anything to them? It's not something to be shameful about. If somebody has cancer, you say, I have cancer. People are a little leery about saying someone has dementia or Alzheimer's. Please don't be, because the more we talk about it, the more we're going to get somewhere with it. So like I said, go to connectingcaregiversconference.com and register and let all your friends know about it. Also, I want you to go to my website, lindaburhans.com, and go to the caregiver contest. So I find that with caregivers all the time, people are like, oh, how's your loved one? But nobody's really asking how you are. And when they ask how you are anyway, you do say, I'm okay, which is a bunch of baloney. So anybody can go to my website and nominate a caregiver. It takes you 1 minute to do it. Every single person that's nominated receives a gift from me, whether it's a journal or a book or something. And then once a quarter, we pick one name out of the hat, because you're all winners to us. And you get a grand prize with gift cards and respite care and a facial and a massage. And the caregiver is always like, do I have to do it all in one day? I'm like, no, you don't have to do it all in one day. But it's really a big deal, so please go there. So we're supposed to have a call-in guest, but he hasn't called in yet. So we're going to start talking to Deanna. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about you and how you got into this business.
How I got into this. Is this okay?
Yeah.
I actually got into home care by accident. It's one of my favorite stories. My previous employment was in substance abuse and mental health. I was the operations director of a treatment facility that specialized in the treatment of impaired professionals. I did that for 9 years. I left there and I knew I wanted to stay in healthcare. So I started applying for jobs, and I applied for a branch manager with Bayshore, and I didn't get the job. 2 weeks went by. No one called, and I was like, I guess I didn't get that job. And then they asked me if I would be interested in doing their marketing, and I told them they had the wrong number. I actually said, I don't have anything like that on my resume, and I think you have the wrong number. And she said, I know who I'm calling.
I interviewed you.
You're right. She said, you came in and you met with us. And I asked her to see the job description. And I looked over that and thought I would be a good fit. And I just jumped in. So that's how I landed here.
And so how many years ago was that?
That was 6 years ago.
Wow.
Yes, that was the Monday after Thanksgiving in 2018. I had been unemployed for a couple of months, and I knew I had found the right place. It's funny how everything happens for a reason. Yeah. Prior to working in substance abuse and mental health, I was the personal assistant to the chief of staff of Largo Medical, who also had a private practice, geriatric practice. So I had a couple of years in geriatrics experience under my belt, and I landed here. And I could not be more grateful.
Yeah. You haven't looked back for a minute.
I have not. I love who I work for. I love the company that I represent. I love the people that I work for who allow me to stay me. I don't have to deter from being who I am as a little borderline codependent, very empathetic, empath by nature. I carry everyone's pain, but I get to be in a sales role and support the company and promote the company in the business development role that I'm in while staying true to myself.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of companies and employers that wouldn't allow you to do that.
Right.
I get to spend as much time on someone who can't afford a moment of home care as I do on the people that can afford 24-hour care. Again, there's a lot of employers that wouldn't allow that grace.
Oh, no, not
and
at all.
I get to do it all day, every day.
Well, more employers should be smart about that because they'd have more better employees.
This is true.
You know,
This
they give
is
them
true.
the opportunity.
Right.
You know, there's like 300 home health care companies in Pinellas County.
Right.
And there are some that are very fabulous and there's some never.
Right.
But I want to go there. So explain to our listeners first, what is home health for the people that don't know?
So there are two sides to home health. The skilled side, which is physical therapy, occupational therapy, wound care, things that require a licensed professional, would be the home health side. Home care is what I do, which is assistance with activities of daily living, which is the caregivers.
Which activities of daily living are bathing,
light housekeeping,
feeding,
meal
med
preparation,
management,
laundry, bathing,
companionship.
all of the day-to-day things that a family member can do are what the home care providers can do.
Well, it's funny. One of my caregivers just called me. She lives in Minnesota, and she finally had home care come in for the first time. And she's like, my husband is doing so much that he didn't do before.
Right.
Because he wouldn't do it for her.
For her.
No.
He wouldn't do it for her.
No.
She said, I should have done this like a year ago because he's so agreeable and he just wants to be a nice guy. And
Right.
so lots of times when people think about bringing home health and they're like, oh my God, you know, like, is the person going to like us? Are we going to like them? Because there is a match to it.
There is a science behind it, for sure. I always tell families, you know, there's two sides to this. There's the side of what you were mentioning about the woman who said, I should have done this a long time ago. A lot of what you pay for in home care that people don't think about is it's not necessarily for the person we're providing care for.
Mm-hmm.
It's for the family. There's a lot of families that are in another state.
Yep.
You know, their mom or dad are here. There's no other family around. They're trying to maintain their lives in another state. They're working. They're raising families. They're trying to maintain.
They're here. They're sandwich generation.
Right. And they want to know that mom or dad are cared for and loved and know that they're safe. So a lot of what home care is peace of mind for the family.
Yeah, because if you call up Mom, how you doing? Mom doesn't tell you that she has a bruise on her leg where she fell last week. Mom
Or
doesn't
on her
tell you
forehead.
that dad didn't poo in 3 days. You know,
Right.
It's good.
Right.
So if you're a long distance caregiver, my advice to you is go visit when they don't know you're coming. Because when they know you're coming, we could spiff up stuff and get special food in the house, you know, and do all
Spiff
this
everything.
But they can't do it for a long period of time. So my advice is to go visit
For a week is a good time.
and see what's happening. And if you can't, go to visit for a short period of time and talk to their neighbors. Because the neighbors are going to tell you what's going on that they're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my caregivers came to visit her mom and went and spoke to the neighbor. And the neighbor goes, oh my God, we were so worried when the ambulance took her away 2 weeks ago. Oh, her daughter had no clue.
Oh my goodness.
She never told her daughter.
Right.
So
That happens
so
a
that's
lot.
my advice to you is to come and visit. And then when you come and visit, you contact me and we'll hook you up. Because there's a lot of different things you can do and it will give you peace of mind. You know, when you can call up mom and she said, oh, Mary just left and we had a nice afternoon. Because a lot of it is companionship.
Right.
People just want somebody to be near them and care about them and know
Right.
that they're there. And because we know isolation kills. You see what happens to somebody that sits at home all by themselves.
Yes,
It's terrible.
definitely.
It's terrible. So what is the main thing you think our caregivers need to hear?
I think the main thing that every caregiver needs to hear is that they're appreciated. I can't tell you how many families I talk to that don't have anyone, who don't have family, who don't have,
or it's the one designated daughter.
or or there's that, or no one at all. I mean, and to the one designated daughter, I keep you in my thoughts daily. There's so much out here that people don't know about.
Yeah.
There are so many resources for our seniors and for their families that people have no idea about. And unfortunately, the people that are in roles to communicate with them on a regular basis are spread so thin that they don't have the time to explain a lot of it. That's why I'm grateful, like I said, that I get to work for people that allow me to. I will talk to anyone that will listen to me about resources for seniors and their families. I just told my boss last week, my blessing of an assistant, Julia, is currently making me a t-shirt that says, "Let me talk to you about resources for seniors."
Yeah.
Because I'm out all the time. I'm in hospitals. I'm in parking lots. I'm everywhere. I cover 3 counties and I'm always out. So let me talk to you. Let me talk to you about what's out here for seniors. I love that. I wish there were more outlets and resources for people to know what's out here for them.
Well, and I think there's a lot they just don't know about it. And that's why we have this show, and that's why we have the conferences, and we hook up with people like you, because there are a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of fabulous things that can help you, where you can once again, you get to be the wife instead of the caregiver.
Yes.
So let's talk about home health versus going into a community.
So it's really about what is best for the person and their family. I always stress that other part, because the senior is only one half of it. Their family is the other half. What is happening with the family dynamics, as you mentioned once already, to be the daughter or the son or the husband or the wife, not the caregiver.
Right.
So is home care always the best route? No, it's not. And I love being able, again, to be honest with families. Home care is not the best route for you, ma'am. And a community may be a better route. And here are some suggestions as far as that goes. For the families that have the ability to stay at home, and it does work for the family dynamics, and it's not putting too much on the rest of the family, then home care is a great option. Home care
because everybody wants to stay in their home.
Right, exactly. But not everybody has the means to do that.
Right.
Or is it really the best route for the family? If you have a husband and a wife, there's no other family around, say there's no siblings, there's no uncle, there's no adult child, there's none of it. Say it's just the two of them and there's only home care in place for the wife during the day, but she's a wander risk. And the husband's not sleeping at night. Are you really providing a benefit to the family? You're not. So it's really important that you're looking at all of the dynamics to make sure that you're providing peace of mind and a long-term plan for both.
Well, caregivers, we're in support groups, whatever. Linda, when is it time? When is it time? When is it time? I always say when it's time is when your loved one isn't safe anymore.
Right.
Because you can't watch them 24/7, and when you're ready to jump off the bridge.
Right.
Then you know.
Right.
But if you start earlier on your journey with home care, with adult daycare, the situation can be different.
Absolutely.
Can be totally different.
Absolutely.
Because if we're just sitting home by ourselves for a long time, we're declining.
Right.
We're declining.
Well, the goal is to keep them at home as long as you can. And how do you do that without, when you know that you still have a good number of years? How do we do that without breaking the bank early on? You have to get creative. Like you said, bring in somebody a couple of hours here and there, let them build that bond, let them have that relationship, keep that mind stimulation going, maybe do adult daycare a couple days a week. How do we prolong it to where they can stay at home and safe and independent as long as they can? Getting creative. How do we do it for as long as we can?
And maybe, once you come to the point where you open yourself up to consider this, you'll find there's a lot of other options. You'll find that your caregiver can come in and do things with your loved one that they wouldn't do for you. That they'll do it with your husband, Jack, with the bathing. He didn't want to bathe. She brought in a cute home health care girl. Yeah, I'm in the shower.
And then now he's clean.
It's whatever works, because I don't think anybody wants to spend their last years suffering or having discontent with their family or not understanding. Because the most important thing for you, I feel, is to spend time with your loved one, not totally caring for them. To spend time with them sitting there holding their hand. To spend time with them watching a movie they want to watch.
Right.
You know, that is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start getting help in, you're able to do that. Because you're not running frantic to do. You know, you're not the only, I tell caregivers, you're not the only one that can mow the lawn. You're not the only one that can go to Publix. And people want to help you.
Right.
You know, even outside your home health care company, people at your church, your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on the back of my business card, it says the person I'm with has Alzheimer's and dementia, may not clearly understand what you're saying. Please be patient with them. And I always tell people, like if you're in a restaurant, if you give this to the server, they're going to be much kinder for your loved one if they're fidgety and they don't know what they want to order and everything. And my one girlfriend says, if I start giving a card like that to the server, my dad's going to be, what are you doing? She said, so I took a picture on my phone and I say to the server, you want to see the sunset?
Hey, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful idea.
Because when they see it, when you know better, you do better.
Right.
Everybody wants to help everybody.
Right. Definitely.
So I had a woman come into my support group once and I gave her some cards and she calls me a few days later and she said, can I have 14 more cards? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I leave her 14 cards in an envelope on my house. And
that's wonderful.
She calls me a couple of days later. She came to the next support group and she said, those cards saved my life. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, she lives in a mobile home community and her husband's starting to wander in people's yards. And when he walks the dog, he's not cleaning up the poo. So everybody's looking at him, not so nice.
Right.
So she just went around. She gave one card to every neighbor. And they're like, he can come in our yard. We'll clean up the poo.
Aww.
Maybe he would like some lemonade.
Yeah.
So now you have people surrounding you.
Right.
That want to help you.
Mm-hmm.
So please pay attention to that. But right now, we need to hear from our wonderful partners because you know the deal. If you don't hear from them, you don't hear from me. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Are you getting older, or are you taking care of somebody who is? You know, getting older creates new problems you probably never imagined. One of the big ones is, how do you pay for care? Care in your home, care in an assisted living facility, or care in a nursing home. Did you know that nursing home care in our community can cost up to $12,000 per month? For the last 33 years, our offices help families access benefits, including Medicaid, VA, and PACE, to help pay for the cost of long-term care. Regardless of what your assets are or what your income is, you can qualify for these benefits. Proper planning and guidance are absolutely necessary to avoid being wiped out. Let us help. If you are in care or heading in that direction, we can help solve that problem. Take action now to obtain benefits to pay for the cost of care. Here are the 4 things that you need to do. 1, get a new power of attorney. Your old one probably isn't good enough. Get a healthcare surrogate and a living will. 3, get an estate plan that will not disqualify you from benefits. And 4, get a plan to qualify for Medicaid, PACE, or VA benefits to pay for the long-term care costs. Call us today for a free consultation, 727-539-0181, or go to flmedicaid.com and download our free book on Medicaid and planning for long-term care. I'm Sean Scott. I'm here to help.
guaranteed to make you laugh through your tears. Linda Burhan's book, Good Night and God Bless, is filled with humor and heartfelt inspiration to aid anyone facing the challenge of caring for a loved one at the end of life. Her story offers hope for human strength and understanding of weaknesses during a difficult time. Life doesn't normally prepare us to become a loved one's caregiver. When it happens, it's usually sudden. A diagnosis of an illness, age-related frailty, dementia, and life suddenly is anything but normal. And because we don't even know what we don't know, where do we turn to for help or guidance? In Connecting Caregivers, Answers to the Questions You Didn't Know You Needed to Ask, Linda offers information, education, and inspiration from her own experience and from experts whose advice, practical tools, and personal stories will empower and guide you. Make sure to add these inspiring books to your collection today. Available on Amazon.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we're back.
And we're back. And we're back. All right. So one of the things I want to talk about is being prepared. So if you think that you might need home health now or you might need home health in the future, I think your best thing is to contact someone now, because you can have that conversation and know that it's not so scary and know that you have something in place. Because I might not think that I need home health for my husband right now, and then all of a sudden I find out that I have to have a surgery. Now, I've already come and met with you and everything. I'm just good to go then. I don't have to worry the last minute that I have to do all this paperwork and everything because I did it with you ahead of time. Right. Do you find a lot of people do that or not?
It's blessings and curses on both sides. I think it's a good idea to go ahead and do some of that prelim homework so you know what your options are and you know what the costs associated will be or won't be when that time comes. So doing all of the homework ahead of time is good. I don't know what it's like in other states or honestly even in other parts of Florida, but I can tell you for us in Tampa Bay, I only cover Hillsborough, Pasco, and Pinellas, so I'm right here in a little Tampa Bay bubble. But I know for us, if you call me today and you say, I'm going to have surgery in 3 weeks. I'm going to need care for my dad in 3 weeks. I'm going to tell you, I'll call you back about a couple of days before your surgery. Okay. Mainly because you don't know what's going to be like. You don't know where your caregivers are going to be. You don't know. Between now and then, you could have 3 or 4 clients pass away in 3 weeks. This is home care. Right. You don't know in the next 24 hours, we could have 6 families call that need round-the-clock care. Right. You just don't know. It's home care. And I tell people that all the time. I will always kind of have an idea if we think we'll be successful or not. But I will never know for sure if it's that far away. However, for the family or the caregivers being, proactive, be proactive, think ahead so you know what it's going to be and what your options are. So you're not making a bunch of pointless phone calls when that time comes.
Yeah. And some of our listeners may have long-term health care insurance, which can pay for home care, some VA benefits that can pay for home care. So, and then there are programs. And there are different things that you can get help with. So don't think, I can't do this. I don't have any money.
No, but please start the homework because eventually you'll get someone who can tell you what your options are. The VA benefits side, again, I will tell this to anyone that will listen to me talk. So many veterans do not even know that the VA will cover private duty benefits for them. Yeah. So many, they have no idea.
And even their spouse. So my husband was a vet and he passed away. So when the time comes, I'm entitled to like $1,400 a month in home health. So that's a big deal.
Again, people don't know. So I talk about it to anyone that will listen. If you if your loved one was a veteran or has any type of VA benefits, find out, reach out to their social worker, find out if they have any. If they don't have any in place and you feel they may qualify, see if they'll schedule an appointment with their PCP at the VA and see if they qualify for home care benefits. Right. So many people don't know that the VA will cover for private duty, and it's such a great benefit. Again, they have to qualify. It's like anything else. But it is great for you to know. Even if they don't qualify now, keep it in your memory bank.
Yeah.
Because they will eventually. But I always talk about it.
Is it to do with how much money you have?
For the VA,
Yeah.
I think it has to do with what their service level was.
Yeah, time of service, amount of service.
It has to do with so many different variables, and then of course, with like everything else, it's qualifying. What condition are they in?
You have to prove that they need it.
But the VA also covers respite, for their loved ones. Like if the wife is the primary caregiver, they'll cover respite hours for the wife. So again, a lot of people don't know that.
And I can't tell you how important respite is. I didn't find out what respite was until I was in my bereavement group.
Oh my goodness.
It really helped you, didn't it?
Not such a good idea. But, there was a time, I wanted to go to a wedding and there was no one to take care of my mom. And so I didn't go. I didn't know.
Oh, I know. I thought that.
You don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So I think getting an education, going out there, going to live seminars, going to the conference, going to places, have these conversations because this is your world now.
Right.
This is your world now. And there's
Right.
a lot of different things you can learn about and different things to help out.
And you mentioned also as well the long-term care insurance. There's one thing I have learned is there are no two long-term care insurance policies that look the same.
Yeah.
None, not a single one. I've talked to so many families over the last 6 years and nothing is similar on any of them.
Yeah.
So I always tell people to kind of have an idea of what that looks like as well. If you are a caregiver caring for mom or dad and they have a long-term care insurance policy, go ahead and review it.
Yeah.
Find out what it covers. Find out what your elimination period is. What is your out of pocket cost going to end up being before they will start reimbursing. Start knowing what companies take long-term care insurance that will allow for the billing side for you to be reimbursed. All of those things take work.
Yeah.
A little bit of homework ahead of time so you know what you're dealing with when that time comes.
And if you need help with that, get someone to help you with that.
Definitely.
Get your daughter to help you with it. Get your neighbor. Call one of us. We can just guide you at least along a line of where to start, where to go.
Definitely.
So what questions should people ask when interviewing a home care company?
When you are, again, I always think it's important that people are educated on the different types of home care and they should do whatever they feel is best for them. That's my job, is to educate people on the different types of home care and then they can make whatever decision is best for them. You want to know who's coming in your home. You want to know that they are licensed, bonded, and insured.
Yeah.
You want to know that they've had a national FBI background screening, level 2. You want to know that the company that they're working for is reputable. You want to know what the plan is if that caregiver isn't coming.
That's a big deal.
If that person has a dead car battery or a flat tire or their son or daughter is sick
or whatever,
what is the company that you're utilizing doing to make sure that a caregiver is still going?
Yeah, and do they have enough people to cover that?
To cover it. I always, when I have referral partners, I have several in our industry that I am so grateful for. But when I have someone call me that says, I have this case, can you take it? My version of taking a case and my team's version of taking a case is not just taking it. It's, do we feel that we would be successful with the case? Yeah. So we look at all of those components. We look at the family dynamics. Who else lives in the house? What does that look like?
Yeah.
We look at what is this person's needs in that specific area. So say it's a county or an area within a county that only has caregivers that have Hoyer experience. Say we only have 2 caregivers in that area that have experience with a Hoyer, and families looking for.
She's talking about a Hoyer lift.
Hoyer lift, yeah, sorry. And the family's looking for 24-hour care.
Yeah.
And they have a cat, and that one of those 2 caregivers that has a Hoyer lift experience is allergic to cats. So I'm looking at one caregiver in that area that has experience. Right. Could our nurse go and train?
Hours available.
Yeah, all of the things. All I know is I'm seeing a lot of failure. I am not seeing that we would be successful with that case. So I would refer it to another home care company that I feel would be more successful with that case.
As we should.
Right. I feel that everyone has their own questions of what they feel is important to them when they're hiring a home care company. We have a list of questions that we provide families, it's actually called questions to ask when hiring a home care provider. And it has all of those basic questions on it.
How long you been in business? Are you insured?
Yeah, all of those things. For us, a big part of it, and one of the things I focus on a lot, is the nursing oversight. Who's doing your start of care evaluation for your loved one? I myself, and this is just a Bayshore thing, I have never done a start of care. I've never done an evaluation on a client. They're always done by licensed nurses. Yeah. So although we are set up into 3 counties, we're actually broken into 4 territories. And each territory has its own office, its own caregivers, its own branch manager, its own scheduler, their own nurse. That nurse is a 24/7 point of contact for any family or client or caregiver in her area. Say you're the daughter in North Carolina. Dad just came home from the hospital with a brand new diagnosis, whole new meds, and he's now using a Hoyer. He has a caregiver that has Hoyer experience, but maybe she hasn't done it in a while. Yeah. That nurse in that area is going to show up and train that caregiver and make sure that she knows what she's doing when dad comes home. Yeah. We have to make sure dad's safe. We have to make sure the caregiver's safe. We have to make sure daughter in North Carolina has her peace of mind to know that dad's being cared for.
Yeah, and you know what? And I'll tell you, when we talking about the expense, when your family asks you all the time, what can I do? What can I do? Tell them send money. Because, yeah,
they can help pay for your
that's living out of state,
right?
And they can't be there for the everyday stuff that you're doing, taking your mom to the doctors, and whatever. And they want to help out. Let them send some money.
Right.
Let them send some money. I think sometimes if you just suggest that to somebody, they're like, yeah, sure, I'll do that.
They're like, that's the easiest thing I did all day.
Yeah,
exactly.
But sometimes if you don't put it out there,
right.
So just do that.
But I think that's very normal, though. And I think we as humans in general, especially women, independent women, we don't want to ask for help. Men, too. You think women don't want to ask for help?
Yeah.
Men don't want to ask for help. They're like, no, I got this.
Yeah, I'm really bad at asking for help. But then when you do and they say no,
then you don't have to ask again.
Then you don't want to ask again. Yeah. And I get that. Because
it's so hard to ask. And then when someone, how I went through, I couldn't even go to the wedding that was my niece, who was like a daughter to me, because his kids wouldn't come.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Then one of them finally came, not on time, but they did come. And
then they got an idea what the heck was going on, right?
Then we found out. They found out.
Because you don't have a clue.
Right.
Because, they're so good for a weekend is party time. It was just like the old days. We all sat around and laughed and that. But then one of them stayed a week and it was a whole different matter. Then they found out
the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's not the same.
No.
So please look out for your loved ones, because many times they're going to tell you, like I said earlier, everything's just fine, and it's not fine.
Right.
You need to spend some time with them and see exactly what's going on. Let's talk a little bit about medication management.
Okay.
And what that is, so people know.
So medication management and home care, again, I don't know what it's like in other states, but I know for us here in Florida, it was just recently passed where caregivers are allowed to administer medications under the supervision of a licensed nurse. Some home care companies are utilizing that. Some are not. Everyone can do med reminders.
Right.
And what does medication management look like for one home care company versus another? They're all different, just like everything else. What everybody can do is different than the other. But I know for us, ours are set up by a nurse. If you are paying for a medication management program with Bayshore, the thing I tell families is you will never think about your loved one's medications again. Our nurses take care of everything. They cross-reference with the physicians anytime there's a med change.
People aren't having that.
Right.
People just go to the drugstore and they're giving them more,
and they just give them
nobody's looking at it.
Right. And no one's paying attention.
Right.
So I tell people, you never have to think about their meds again. They get them changed. They refill them if there's a change. They get all they do everything. They set them up once a week. The nurse comes in and sets them up, not a caregiver. It's done by a licensed nurse.
Yeah.
And they set everything up, and then the caregivers can do the med reminders, or the client take, their meds and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
I've had
horrors that can happen if you're not taking your meds.
there is, but it's expensive. And I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
You know, for medication management, Bayshore Home Care is one of the few home care companies left that's even still offering just med management. Ours can only be used in addition to care, but even having the med management piece, a lot of home care companies aren't offering that anymore. It is important, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
You know, people are trying to, how do we make sure mom or dad are taking their meds? Not only are they taking them, but taking them the right way.
That's the big
Are
thing.
they not overtaking them? Are they taking too little?
Right.
Are they eating the food with it? And then wondering why they're not feeling well because they didn't eat. There's so many things going into play with the medications, but how do you get those needs met financially doable?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do they, and sometimes it takes getting creative, you know. Home care is awesome. It's great. It's wonderful, but it's not for everyone.
Right.
So how do those caregivers that really need the help, that can't afford it, how do they get creative?
Yeah, I have one of my caregivers, her neighbor comes over every day, two times a day.
There you go.
And she gives her $5 or something.
Something like
and
that.
The neighbor's very happy, and she comes over and she gets to visit with her friend.
Right.
Because she wasn't seeing her friend before.
Right.
So, you know, we got to be creative and see what ways we can figure something out.
And sometimes, you know, there's ways that our electronics have.
I get a little nervous about them, though, because, like, with some of them, so the pills come out and they're in a little cup, you know, all your pills.
Are you talking about like a med dispenser?
Yeah.
I'm talking about
just
like.
because you take it out doesn't mean you put
that
it
you
in
took
your
it.
mouth.
Right. Or it's an electronic device. Did it actually spit it out the right way?
Right.
You never know. It's a machine.
Right.
It's anything else like electronic. You don't know.
Right.
But also, do you know what the Echo Show is? The Alexa Echo Show. It's a little device that sits like wherever you want in your house, and you can set one on your counter. Well, if you're the daughter,
like an Alexa.
Yeah, same concept.
Okay.
It's an Alexa, but it's got a screen on it.
Right.
So if you have one and you live in North Carolina, you can do pop-ins on mom or dad. You'll literally be in their kitchen. You can see their face and they can see you.
That's kind of cool. You can
watch them take them.
You can take your vitamins together in the morning.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom. Good morning. I'm taking my vitamins. Now you need to take yours.
They can see them. Mm-hmm. And I actually did that with, there was a community that I had worked really hard with up in North Tampa. We do a medication program, you know, like you can do programs that do that, but there was stipulations behind it that this community could not do. And I didn't have it in me to be like, oh, well, that's really disappointing. I'm like, well, wait a minute. All these people need help. Like, how do I do this? So that's what I came up with them. And I actually found out about it by accident. My oldest daughter, when she bought her home, her Alexa was linked to her dad's in Georgia. And all of a sudden he was on her counter. Like all of a sudden her dad's face was like on her kitchen counter. And I'm like, how would you get here?
What are you doing here?
What happened? But that was how I found out about it. It was by accident. And I was like, wow, how neat.
Because I know Alexa will tell you when to take your pills.
She can do reminders, but yeah.
But to have the face stuff, that's.
You can actually see your loved one. You would have to set their device up through your Alexa account.
Like I was with yours for a while.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Her doorbell rings.
She knew it.
Oh, really?
Oh, she had someone else over today.
That's funny. That's funny.
But really, yeah, I'll tell you, I can't say enough about Alexa. Alexa can tell you a joke. Alexa can play your favorite music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have tinnitus, so I have that constant ringing in my ears. And during the day, it doesn't bother me, but at night, it's terrible. So I just say to Alexa, play thunderstorms. And I sleep through thunderstorms all night.
Oh, we have brown noise on every speaker in my children. I have a 9 and a 10-year-old. And if it stops, they'll wake up. I'm like, Alexa, play brown noise. And it plays on all of our devices through the whole house all night. Yeah. And then when we wake up, Alexa, stop, shuts off. But it leaves that humming.
I like peace and quiet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you don't have that ringing in your ears. If you had that ringing in your ears,
I can't handle the peace and quiet because if I hear a little bump in the night,
it's a little
because then I'm awake all night. No, I don't want to hear any of it. I just want to sleep.
yeah, exactly. Sleep is very important. Very important.
Yes, definitely.
So where can our listeners find you?
Well, you can find us on BayshoreHomeCare.com. or you can Google us. I do want to mention we have been in business. We just celebrated our 39th birthday.
39 years. That's
Yes.
a long time.
We have been in business for 39 years. We are not a franchise. We are family owned. We started
I don't know that.
Yes.
Wow.
We started right here in Largo. We're privately owned. So a lot of home cares, especially in our area, are franchise. And when you have a franchise, you buy by zip code. For us, we are licensed by county.
Okay.
So I cover the Hillsborough, Pasco, and Pinellas counties. And we, as I said, just celebrated 39th birthday. Longest standing privately owned private duty, which is very awesome. I love being able to say that. I love being able to say we're family owned.
Yeah.
Started right here in Largo.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And family owned. You know, it was started by a woman named Deanna Arnold who got into this because she loved it. And it's now ran by her son and daughter. Yeah. Diane is still around. Yep. She still lives locally. She's obviously retired, but it's now ran by Suzanne Johnson and Todd Atkinson, her son and daughter. And I mean, I don't know if either of you have siblings, but I do.
Yeah, we
and
do.
If I tried to run a business with one of my brothers, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
And they work. It's really amazing. Like I'll walk out the conference or walk out the office and I'll see the two of them in the conference room having lunch. And I'm like, this is not normal. This cannot be normal. But they are so respectful of each other's roles and they depend on each other for feedback. They respect each other's boundaries and it works so effortlessly.
Yeah.
As I mentioned early on, I'm grateful that I get to work for a company that allows me to be me. But I also somehow landed in a company that hired people that were made specifically for their roles at Bayshore. Like our DON has been here for 20 plus years.
That's huge.
Pam Atkinson, who answers our intake line, has been with us for 39 years since we opened.
Huge.
And if you're ever having a bad day or if you're ever looking for care for your loved one, Pam's voice is what you want on the other end.
Okay, well, I'll take her number.
You can,
leave.
Yes. Anytime. I've told reps that. I'm like, when you're having a bad day, call Pam. She's got the most loving voice.
Well, I'm going to call Pam because I like loving voices. But right now, it's time to hear from our wonderful partners, so don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week, so check them out.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
We believe the power of the human body and mind can do amazing things, and that tapping into that power, not just tricking it with a temporary disguise, is possible. Superpatch technology uses a special pattern and vibrotactile technology to help you go from feeling blah to hurrah. Now, once the Superpatch is in contact with your skin, it triggers a neutral response in the brainstem that helps you tackle your daily problems head on. Whether you're struggling with pain, balance, stress, or focus, we have a solution that might be right for you. With Super Patch's 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Hi, this is Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. I started using the Liberty Patch over 3 years ago. I used to be a tripper, but since wearing the Liberty Patch, I haven't tripped once. The Liberty Patch is proven to reduce the risk of falling by up to 8 times. And as we all know, if you prevent the fall, you prevent the call. Don't wait until it's too late. Preventative solutions are the answer.
Super Patch does not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure illness. Super Patch is FDA registered. To receive 25% off your first order, go to sticktoit.info. That's sticktoit.info and learn more.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we're back.
We're back.
So I have a few announcements. Sages Plays with Purpose has a show coming up, Phony Baloney. It's great. You go there, you get entertained, it's for free, and you end up talking about some things you need to talk about that you didn't think you needed to talk about.
You learned something.
Lynn and I went to one of the shows and just kept poking each other.
They're great. Sages is great.
Yeah, so they'll be April 6th at 2 o'clock at the Central Parks Performing Arts Center in Largo, April 12th at 2 p.m. at the Catherine Hickman Theater in Gulfport, and Saturday 4/19 at 2 p.m. at Ruth Eckert Hall. So it's free, but it's better to register because they get a really big crowd. So you can go to their website, Sages Theater, SagesTheater.org. Also on April 5th, we have a veteran stand down for the homeless. It's going to be at the Bill Young Medical Center on Bay Pines. There'll be housing information, homeless resources, women's veteran, PAC study, bike giveaway, medical care, Pinellas County Animal Services, lunch, haircuts, and more. So please support our vets. No vet should be doing without anything because they took care of us so that we can be able to live and have what we have. So please do that. Go to the Connecting Caregivers Conference website and register. I'm excited. Next week, we're having the Super Patch team here with Sean Scott.
I won't be here.
So it should be a very interesting show. So remember, tune in next week. Go to the Caregiver contest. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.